This is my favorite record that is released this year. Straight up. Before we even go into it, it's my favorite record of the year so far, hands down. Hey RV family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morse, 3rd V Guy, reviewing music for the love of music, and I'm back again to bring you another video. And in this one I'm going to be covering the new self-titled album by People of the Black Circle, which I've seen some division on whether this is an EP or an album, but considering it is a decent amount of length, I'm just going to call it an album for the sake of consistency. So these guys are an Athens, Greece band, and they fall under many different categories. They're a dingy, darkened band. They're lurking in the shadows with this strange assortment of harrowing doom metal with gothic underpasses and psychedelic tinges that amount to this very cosmic aesthetic. Take the occultness and the Lovecraftian obsession of Uncle Acid, mix it with the grooviness and catchiness of an Electric Wizard or a Saint Vitus, and then take the poetic lyricism of a Typo Negative, and you're getting pretty damn close to the formula that they perform. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of most doom metal, sludge metal, and stoner rock bands that release records nowadays. I've been very critical of many of them, and that is just simply because most of them put on their best Black Sabbath costume and try to go out to the circus to perform like a bunch of dancing monkeys, but this record has captivated me in a way that I don't think a single record this entire year has. I'm just bubbling, I'm so excited. Something's just poisonous about this evil, man. The progressions are murky, the textures are gripping. The aura of the ambiance, I would say, is just unmistakably old school and vintage and kind of boasts some of the best of the 1970s and 1980s, but there is just like this black magic incantation feel to everything. They're like these omens that are being uttered to you. Nyarlathotep, they literally named a track that, and it just has chants just smack dab in the middle, just these cathedral chants. It's so appropriate. Or the extremely slow burner pace of the cosmic introduction to the track Chimeria. And I can't be the only one that thinks that this track reads like the introduction of like or at least a passageway between a Pink Floyd epic, complete with these despondent no-wave-ish vocals that drone into the mix under this radio effect, and somber, lazy piano keys with these scant riffs that just take you to a faraway, distant land. They're being played amidst this dreary backdrop that I can't get enough of. And the closer you listen, the more you realize that the ambiance of this track is also bedecked by this background either static noise or rain falling. It's kind of hard to tell. But either way, when it's sitting shoulder to shoulder with these thick, sludgy riffs that I really want to lay into thick, some of these riffs just hit like a ton of bricks, but in the emotionally evocative way, not necessarily anything heavy, not necessarily anything harsh, and these piano chords that are incredibly minimalistic in the way that they are performed, but so incredibly effective in the scantness. It brings it all together, and even this occasional interval of what sounds like a bell that is being rang, it is so atmospheric. It's encompassing and drowning, and this whole record just takes on an extremely immersive feel and experience. Even minor progressions like the inflection that is on the track "And Hunts and Wars Are Just Like Shadows" reminds me of some of my favorite vocal moments of the late Peter Steele. Some people might say that this record takes too long to get to the point, to get the jump start that it never quite receives, but quite on the contrary, I disagree. For once, I feel very understood by a doom metal record of what makes it the best it can possibly be. And in recent memory, there have just not been any records that have successfully done that for me this entire year, except one funeral doom metal record that I might actually be talking about pretty soon, so doom metal fans, be on the lookout for that. They're very paced, yeah, I'll give you that, but upon closer inspection, you see just how much was made to bring this track listing together in such a lavish way. It's hauntingly beautiful, tragic, and morbidly forlorn in a way that doesn't feel cheap, that doesn't feel like it's just trying to pull some emotionally fast, manipulative showstopper on you, bringing together atmosphere in a cripplingly smart fashion and just tragic. I will keep using that term for this record. Tragic. As creepy as it is, I get a lot of sadness from these riffs, specifically on tracks like Chimeria. On many occasions, I'm very hypercritical of the hyper usage of radio effects and heavy reverb in genres like these. But here, I can't put a finger on it, it makes more logical sense. The vocals are an accompaniment to the commanding riffs and the commanding construction of these tracks. Like, okay, so on Chimeria, if the vocals had swallowed the mix, if they had been this, you know, gigantic force that overpowered everything around it and were mixed to have this compression on them and be so front and center in the mix, it would have taken so much away from the drift of the instrumental, because this track is atmospherically dense, it is powerful, it is harrowing, it is beautiful, and if the vocals would have swallowed that and just overshadowed that, I think that immediately would have put this on a level like so many other bands nowadays. It's not too loud, it's just right. Because they're quite audible, don't get me wrong, they are, but they are not the entire cavern. They're just a, let's just say, a minor stalactite that's hanging from the top. And not only does this add to the endearing vintage nature, but combines with everything else to cause a presence that is foreboding and imposing and has this level of urgency even through how slow it is. The only weak moment, if you can even call it that, is the track Ghosts in Agartha, I believe it is pronounced, the ending track. And this is only because the rest of the record is so strong that any slight deviation in perceived quality sort of takes it a step down. And that mostly just comes from the fact that this track reads to me like what I would expect from a doom metal band and a sludge metal band, and didn't really have the hallmarks that made the rest of this record stand out atmospherically. It's a lot heavier, it's a lot sharper, it's kind of more of what I would expect from the status quo, but that's not to say that it's without its merit or without its, you know, show-stopping moments. Because with that being said, it has this really ear-scraping ending in the good way that brings it all in this culmination, sort of swirls around and makes everything feel like this entity is rising up from the smoke, and it's the coming to fruition of everything prior. Like I said, it's like this entity rising up from a black altar. It's great shit, I must say. And it's ingrained itself in my memory. Please support this band. They are an up-and-coming band, and I can't get enough of this record. I really want to see it on some streaming platforms because I just think that this band deserves a lot more support than they're getting currently. Go check this out on Bandcamp. It's going to be down below in a pinned comment per usual, and I have to give a round of applause to this band. Stumbling on this, I love making these discoveries where it is a record that just blows my mind and leaves just me without any socks and just tipping my hat with my hat in my hand, just being like, holy shit, this is incredible. I really think that this could be a very high-ranking record on my end-year list, even though we're barely into the year so far. And I really hope that this isn't just a one-off event, and these guys need to get a label. They need to not be independent, because as much as being independent is great, this band deserves to have their record boasted on a label that can appreciate them and get them to a wider audience. It is fantastic, and I just can't get enough of this record. Highly suggest it, can't say enough good things about it. I'm going to be giving this album a 9 out of 10. And that is a wrap. Have you heard this new self-titled record from People of the Black Circle? If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. I would love to discuss this record with you. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is, my name is Jay Moore's The Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.